Hey, everybody. This is your girl, Reagan Adams, with Dating is Dead. Who Killed It? Let me adjust myself. Sorry. Oh, here we go. All right, everybody. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm going to give people a little bit of time to kind of chime in and just join us. And if you guys want to go ahead and share the broadcast, I don't know if you can do it on your own or if you want to go to my page and do it. I'll give you guys a minute to do that as well. And let me open it up and make sure we can do it.
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do it.
Is there a link in here?
Okay. Hold on. Let me open it up. Don't look like it's gonna let me, but I can open it up later. Because it's just friends. But you can still share it. Just a second. But it's part of the course. See, I should have had Sister Shamika produce it and then it'd be right because this is not my area of expertise.
You got it. You're fine.
Girl, I don't want to be fine, Shamika. I want to be great. I want to be great. Well, anyway, let's go ahead and get started, guys. So, first of all, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really, really appreciate it. The reason I have Dating is Dead, Who Killed It, and the Build a Man workshop is because I absolutely love all things relationships. I think there is a lot of banter that goes on between black males and black women, and I'm tired of it, to be honest. And I really feel like we need a better understanding of not only ourselves but each other. And so I just want to have the conversation without the male bashing and the female bashing. Like, I want us to come together so we can have an understanding of one another, love one another, and all the things in between. Okay, so no topic is really off limits here, as long as we're keeping it respectful and partially clean. Sometimes I may slip up and say some things. So if you are super sanctified and saved, this may not be the page for you, because I am super sanctified and saved, but I still say some things. Okay. And so anyway, okay, we got some people to add to the list. Okay. But either way, I thank you for joining us tonight, and I welcome all of our guests. I'm going to ask that everybody kind of introduce themselves. Keep it brief. If you have a business or anything or a page that you want people to follow, make sure that you let the people know. And also later on, we'll drop your hashtags and all the things down in the comments. Okay. And we'll go ahead and start with Sister Shamika.
Of course you would.
You're the first one I see to my right.
Hello, everybody. I am Shamika Rhymes, and I am a journalist, host, producer. That's a long list of wear a lot of hats, but I am the host and creator of Check the Rhymes TV. I host Celebration on blackdoctor.com, and then I have Ladies Edition podcast and themofo.chronicles.com. So that's it in a nutshell.
All right, Sister Linda.
Hi, my name is Linda.
Oh my gosh, I'm having problems.
Hold on. You want to go out and come back in?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead, Linda.
My name is Linda. I don't have a podcast. I'm just here as a guest and trying to enjoy the conversation.
All right, welcome. Brother Kobe.
My name is Kobe. I'm an artist. Got my company, Night Vision Music and Entertainment. I'm also part of the Good Guy Collective and the author of Singles Therapy, dealing with similar concepts and ideas about relationship questions and conversations and things like that. So,
you guys will also be seeing Brother Kobe a little bit later on. I'm going to interview him by himself. He is like a wealth of wisdom. Listen, he looks quiet, but listen, you got to watch some quiet ones. You understand me? All right, Brother Jermaine, welcome. You're up next. I know you just got here. If you need me to go to somebody else, I can. Otherwise, we are introducing ourselves.
I can do an introduction. This is Jermaine Granberry, preacher, marital counselor, relationship counselor, 10 plus years. Just happy to be here.
Thank you. Sister Alicia.
Hi, I don't know what the introductions are.
Yours?
Name's Alicia. What are we saying?
Yeah, just whatever you want to
Happy.
say. And if you got somewhere we can follow you, then we'll drop that down below and you can go ahead and mention that if you want to.
Oh, I just do resales, Lisi's Luxuries, Poshmark, Macari, Lisi's Luxuries. Sorry,
I was like, what's that? Okay.
it was acting a mess. Sorry.
Okay. All right, brother Sydney.
Yeah, real quick. My name's Sidney Clinkscales. I do a little bit of everything. I run a business now, part-time actor. Just here, like I said, to assist Reagan in her endeavor and share what wisdom that I have and that I've acquired through life.
Okay. And brother Maurice. Can't hear you.
Okay. My name is Maurice Johnson. I don't have a podcast. This is my third time being here. I enjoy the conversations. I enjoy learning from everybody. And I enjoy just picking people's brains and having these conversations. So, something that I enjoy. I appreciate Reagan for having me back. And I look forward to learning from you ladies as well.
Okay. And the best for last, Sister LaQuanda.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. I am LaQuanda. I am author of Broken Gracefully, and I am in the process of getting ready to publish another book called it's about dating. And so I have watched Reagan's previous Behind the Beard, and she invited me to be a panelist on here, so I accepted that. But yeah, I love this kind of talk. I am a widow. I have a ministry called Widow's Heart, and yeah, that's just a little bit. I got a whole list. I wear many hats as well, but that's just brief and small.
Okay. I'm gonna ask that everybody mute their phone until it's time to talk. I would really appreciate it because I want to make sure we can hear everybody, and I don't know who is who, and I just keep randomly muting people. Sorry. Thanks, guys. Okay, so I lied to y'all earlier. I said that we were going to kind of hit the ball back and forth between men and women with the questions, and we are. But I wanted to start with a question for both of you guys. So whoever wants to answer first, please do so. But look, y'all got to keep it like succinct and brief because we can't be having these preacher minutes like everybody taking 10 minutes. Okay. All right. No shade to you, brother Pastor Jermaine, but and that wasn't for you, but just because you are a pastor, we just keep it. Okay. So everybody can be heard and all the good things. Okay. So question number 1, do you feel like most people, including yourself, have ever been loved properly? That's the first part of this question. If the answer is no, do you think that is why we can sometimes self-sabotage our relationships? And why do we self-sabotage? Whoever's up next may go.
Wow.
Okay, I'll go.
Okay.
Because the question was, have we ever been loved properly?
Yes.
I would say no for
Okay.
me. And I would say because I didn't understand what that was, I only saw it in the theater, the movie. Oh, the night comes and picks up this woman and they ride off in the sunset happily ever. They don't explain, oh, in the process of that, they're gonna have some downtime. They're not gonna be able to get along sometime. They may argue with each other. There's always something going on in the background and none of that is being seen. So when you meet somebody, you think everything's going to be perfect, everything is going to be okay, the flowers bloom every day, and that is not the case.
No.
Some know how to communicate effectively, and then that leads to resentment, and now you're walking around with an attitude, and it's like, well, how do you expect your partner to know how you feel if you can't articulate how you feel? But that's because we don't see those kind of stories where they're breaking things down and showing us that it's not always a good time all the time. So
I would like to jump in. I would say probably no as well. But when Lashonda was talking, it clicked in my head. I think part of that is due to unrealistic expectations
Mm-hmm.
from both parties. You only know what you know, and it's hard to for it hypothetically, it's hard for me to say what thorough love is to me if I don't have a model, and then I go into it like you said, but the knight on the shining armor and things like that, and I think that's what sets up that that inevitable slip up in relationships if you're not prepared for it. And on the last show, I talked about stages. Relationships go through stages. A lot of times, like I said, couples don't make it between that 2 and 3 stage, and I think that is due to the reason. And the self sabotage does come into play, because again, if I'm broken and I don't know how to be loved, and this person is moderately broken or moderately fixed, and they don't know how to give love, there's the castle.
Okay.
I'll hop
Okay, my
in.
response.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead, man.
sorry. I would say like I've been attempted to be loved properly. Like in my friendships and my relationships with my family, more so in my friendships, I feel like I have, but in my family too in ways. But I feel like I've definitely sabotaged that because of traumas that I had as a young person, that I did not allow the downs. I did not allow the ups and downs. So when someone made a mistake, I was quick to cut off.
Yeah.
So I've been attempted to be loved properly. I can say in retrospect, there's somebody that I definitely was that attempted to do so, and probably I would say he did love me properly, but I didn't know how to accept it. That's what I'll say. Yeah.
Okay.
Mine would fall in line with her. I have been loved properly in family and outside. My grandparents, before they passed, were married 64 years. My mom and dad just celebrated 50 years 2 Thursdays ago. So I've seen it up close for years. I will say I was loved properly probably twice by women in my life in my younger years. Um, it didn't work out because I was not mature enough to see it for what it was because it wasn't what I wanted.
Hmm.
But it didn't mean that it wasn't love. So when I look back at it, it is what it was. It didn't fall into the lane that I was looking for, but that's not their fault.
Oh, that's good.
I feel like I haven't been loved properly, but I think the opportunity was there to grow into that and to learn. I do feel like I've probably had a relationship or two where um, it was the learning process of how to love each other, but it just didn't quite get there. But I think the willingness was there. But I do think the self sabotage, from my perspective, was probably more of you I think we all probably experience fearing love. It's scary to love somebody and to be loved because, all right, what if you fumble it? What if you mess up? So you kind of get in your own head sometimes, and you don't allow mistakes to repair themselves and things. So and you find an insecurity because you have to be vulnerable to love. So that vulnerability is where we end up self sabotaging.
Yes. Ooh, you on here cursing. Because who is trying to do vulnerability? I don't want you to see nothing about me. Right? Anybody else want to tag on to that? Because I got another one. Well, I got a lot of them, but anybody want to answer that?
I'll go. I was sitting here thinking, like, I think in my younger years, I was loved properly until I wasn't. And so insert the uh, self sabotage years after because I was avoiding the healing. And sometimes we avoid that healing because of the fear of rejection, the fear of getting hurt again, and we just put up that wall or start like, okay, did he getting too close? He or she's getting too close, how whatever, and then it's like the wall goes up. Let me self sabotage, and whew, person's gone. You
Yeah.
know, so for me, that's been the pattern. But you know what? Therapy works.
Yes, Lord. Okay. Was
I
that
did
it?
want to add one thing, if that's okay. I
Yeah,
just feel
yeah.
like on this topic, what I've learned through wisdom is like it's hard to be accept. You can't accept proper love when you don't love yourself properly, and I think you
Mhm.
can't recognize it, you can't accept it, you can't receive it, and I think as Black people, we have lots of trauma, unfortunately, and I think that's part of that whole being able to accept proper love. So.
Yeah, that's good.
I was going to say, for me, my first relationship marriage was not properly loved. We were young. We both were learning each other and ourselves. And so it was very domestic. And so when I divorced him and I had about 2 years alone with myself, reloving myself, rebuilding myself, and then that's when met my husband. And so I did have a wall, like some of you all said. I did have a wall built up because in my mind, I'm like, you know, this is how all men are. But which I did have good models in my home to follow, my grandparents as well. Even though it was not perfect, but my grandmother distributed a Proverbs 31 woman. And so I've learned how to be a wife at a young age. And I was trying to do that with this first marriage. But again, it ended in divorce. And so when my second husband came along, I did have a wall built up, but he was very adamant in having me as a wife. So I remember what didn't work in the first one, and I had to reprogram my mind to allow myself to be loved properly from someone who was willing to do that. And so it's a mind thing because we as women are taught to be strong and to not um, allow a man to do this, that, and the other. And a lot of that stuff that we were taught was wrong. So he was there with me through the healing and the rebuilding and all of that. So that second marriage has really taught me a whole lot as far as how to um, love a man, how to allow a man to love me, and how to step back and let him take control and be in control.
Now
Being
you on here cussing. Who's taking control? The man is doing what? Oh my God, he taking control.
yeah.
Woo!
So and that's after that marriage, it opened my eyes up to a lot, like it's a lot of hurting men. And us women have to be healed enough to be able to reach them where they're at. I'm gonna stop right there because I know she got a lot of
Yeah,
more
that preacher
questions.
man. I felt that preacher
But
minute coming on. I felt
okay,
it.
okay. Let me stop. But that's just a little bit right there for me.
That's good.
Mhm.
Anybody else
I
got?
would just throw this in here. When I do marital counseling, no matter what the age of the group is, one of the first activities I have them do is to write down on a sheet of paper what is their definition of love. And you will find out most people don't have a definition of love, or they have a very personal definition of love. And it needs to be expanded because your definition of love needs the general definition needs to be able to cover all your relationships that you have loving relationships. So that's friendships, that's family, that's partnership. And then you can break that definition down to each of those particular relationships. But the general definition needs to be in there. And all of those relationships, uh, I think many of us have gotten bogged down in love languages. And this is not a diss to the book because the book definitely adds value. Uh, but me speaking from a biblical and preacher perspective, you have to look at your life. God has not always loved you in your love languages, but you can't say he didn't love you. So it's about expanding your view of love and being able to accept more than just what you want and look at the heart of the person to see are they genuinely wanting what's best for me? And if they do, I have to learn to sit with that and receive that, even if it ain't the way I want to receive
Okay, that's good. I'm gonna go on to the next question, unless somebody had something else to say. Okay. All right. So this goes for everybody too. So what is one thing that the other side, so but this is for both of y'all, can actively start doing today to better understand relationships and black men better. So how can women understand the black men, and how can black women better understand the black woman in relationships?
I'll make it real simple from the man side. Be willing to listen, and not only listen, be willing to accept what we are saying to be at the very minimum our truth if it is not the general truth for men.
Ladies, did you guys hear that and receive? Did you receive what he said?
I agree, and it's for the women as well.
Yeah.
Same thing. Same thing. You gotta listen, not to, rebuttal, not to argue, not to get your feelings hurt. Just listen. Just listen and sit with it, and stuff will start moving around, and you can have a understanding of each other better. I mean, everything is a conversation.
It is. I'm gonna say this real quick. I'm gonna interject. So, when I moved to Houston, my main purpose for moving was to grow or it still is to grow my business, with love and relationships. And before I even put anything out there about dating is dead or build a man, I said I need to go into the city and research. So, who's doing what when it comes to relationships? So, I started going to other events, and there was one in particular that I went to, and I forgot what it was called, but it was a huge panel of successful black men who all looked good. I was like, whoa, where y'all find these people? Because it's very rare that you can just put everybody in the room together and everybody's a successful black man. There were 16 men, and I think it was called what men want or what women want or whatever. So the goal of it was for women to be in the audience and ask whatever question they had about dating and relationships. Y'all, let me tell you something. I know if you watch me for any length of time, I know a lot of women tend to think that I'm very hard on women, when it comes to relationships, and that I say y'all don't listen, and you don't respect what men say. Not everybody, but because I have coached, and this is something that I see on a regular basis, I do tend to side with men just a tad bit, just because I feel like they aren't heard as much as we are, because we're more expressive than they are, more emotional. When I went to this event, the women, going back to Jermaine's point, none of them, like the women would ask the questions, the men would answer, and the women said, no, that ain't right. No, that ain't right. And they're like, wait a minute, but you asked us what we thought and we told you, and you're saying it's not right. And one of the things that I never understood, and this is not a blanket statement, so I'm just talking. If we want to be with a man, we need to ask men what they think and what they feel. Now, is it always like what they say goes? No, because going back to Linda's thing, we need to have a conversation to try to get an understanding, because everybody's different and every relationship is different. But we do, to side with Brother Jermaine, need to do, and this is me as well, need to do a better job of listening and receiving and sitting with what men say, uh, and hear their side of the story and try to be empathetic. Because women, we're really good. And I could side note, we can be manipulators. I don't get mad at me. We're naturally manipulators. And if men say something we don't like, sometimes it's easy for us to flip that thing around. And so I just want us to be cognizant of how, like, make sure that we have our own self-control as well. But please, we have to, yes, listen to one another. But women, we definitely, especially the ones I have coached, have got to do a better job with listening to what this man is saying, especially if it's somebody that you want, because we need to know what he wants so we can be, as Kobe says, his dream girl. We'll talk about that later. All right. Anybody else want to answer?
Yeah, I'll throw in something. I'll say give the benefit of the doubt. And what I mean is have an expectation of good and not bad, not harm. I think in our community we have a expect the worst, hope for the best, and expect the worst. And I
Mm-hmm.
personally think that's a bad idea because if you expect the best, I mean, because you kind of get what you expect, you know. So if you're expecting the worst, I know it's a protection thing to prepare for failure, but I think when you have, you know, the law of attraction, so you kind of with this negative end of things that's attached to something that you really want positive, it's kind of fighting against each other in that energy. So it's like, you know, what if you hope for the best and expect the best because you've prepared for the best, and you know, and you know, there's always a chance for disappointment, but I think you know, you we can mess up blessings by not giving the benefit of the doubt that there's, you know, an expectation of positivity coming from it. So
Yeah. My mama would say that too. This is I'm just a side note. I remember, and I can be very harsh, a very harsh person sometimes when it comes to people like kind of shooting straight with me. And I remember, I don't know what it was at the time, my ex-husband had done something. And I went to my mom to kind of talk to her about it because she's a woman of wisdom. She just is. So I always, you know, try to bounce some things off of her. And I remember she told me something and it pissed me off so bad. She said, "Well, Reagan, did you let him explain?" And I said, "No, because I saw what he did, and that's what I said he did." And she said, "Well, that's not right. You need to let him explain. You let everybody explain." She said, "Because what you saw may not be what happened, or what you think may not be what happened. So you need to let everybody explain." And I was like, this is the worst advice ever. Like, what? But as I've gotten older, because men and women tend to think differently when they say certain stuff, and we see it a certain way, and that so that just goes back to making sure that we, like what Kobe said, let's let them explain. Even though I still be like, what I said goes, but all right.
But just to piggyback on that and what Kobe said, I think those go into the skills that are required. Relationships aren't just, you know, some organic thing. They require and I talk about this all the time, Reagan, that there's a psychology behind romance that a great many people miss. And everything that you said a lot of times comes down to self-regulation and conflict resolution. uh, if you got a sense of self-regulation, then that comes with a level of grace and patience that you're willing to extend to someone. And the same thing with conflict resolution. You know what I mean? How to be able to get from point A to point C without destroying each other in point B. So I think all those things are intertwined. Yeah, in like I said, in the skills that are required. Because again, relationships, you know, they just not you wake up and then you love somebody, and then you get it perfect. You got to learn these things. Everything that I speak is learned, and it comes from heartbreak. You know what I mean? From different levels of heartbreak. And so after you get sick and tired, and at least for me, it was like there's got to be a reason why. I like the reasons why. What I used to tell my kids, you can always ask me why, because that's a question that's going to lead to another question. That answer is going to lead to another question. So it led me to thinking. So I think, like I said, a little self-regulation, conflict resolution, those are part of the skills that are needed to facilitate those other things.
All right, that's good. Anybody else?
Can you repeat the question?
Let me go back. What is one thing that each, or I'm going to just read it how it is. What is one thing the other side can actively start doing today to understand you better? So, what can they do to understand you better, or black men can do to understand you, or as a woman better?
Gotcha. I think it's been answered. Listen.
All right. Okay, this is for the men. We'll start off with you guys. This is your question. And we may have even touched this. So if we have, just let me know and I'll go to the next one. What do black women get wrong most about how black men feel on the inside? What y'all living for?
What was that?
Hey,
Can you repeat the question?
what do black women get wrong most about how black men feel inside?
they think we feel like them.
Yeah.
That we're against you. We're not.
Hmm.
We're not against you. So when we say something in a corrective way, it's really said because I want to see you be better. It's not for an argumentative reason because I see something that maybe could be better. Does it mean I'm going to always be right? No. But what it is, I can see something that's not right. And I may speak on that, but I'm speaking on that coming from love. So whatever Troy said it for, or somebody else said it before, I don't care how they felt. I only care because I love you. And I'm only saying something because I love you. If I didn't, I wouldn't try to correct it. So when I'm talking to you, I'm really coming from a place of love, and it's not to argue.
I got a question. I kind of want to insert this, and I was about to say I'm sorry, but I'm not. How do we know if y'all care or not? Because that would be my answer. Like a lot of the times, I feel like guys don't care. Like when like if you care, you say it, or we got to figure it out, or we don't figure it out. Do y'all hold on to stuff like?
I think that if I could, that would lead back to what I was going to say. Kobe said, think like a woman," and there is no enmity. But I also want to express that we're not monolithic. We don't all think and operate the same. There's four black men: Jermaine, Maurice, Kobe, myself on this panel. We have a similar whatever it is core, but after that, we're monolithic. So when women say that all men are the same or all men think the same, you're doing yourself a disservice, because again, yeah, we just don't. So I think that when you go into it, with a mindset, open mindset, that each individual that you're going to run across, they're like I said, they're different books. One is a Hemingway, and the other is Dr. Seuss. But you take it for what it is. You know what I mean? So I think
Mhm.
that's one thing that I would express.
Okay, so y'all
I
are
would.
the same.
We are not the same, but when he speaks about the core, there are at least one core thing you can look for from men. If he genuinely cares about you, he will patiently correct you if he cares about you. The patient comes because he likes you. The correction comes because I see a future with you. If I don't see anything with you, there's no need to correct you. You can just be however you want to be because you won't be around me forever anyway. But if I am trying to correct you, it's because I see a future with you and I'm trying to make sure that future is better for the both of us.
Got it. And that's when the listening on our end comes because we're listening to you correct us and we're doing something about it, right?
And just real quick, if I can jump back in,
Hmm.
also for most men, it will be what we do, not necessarily what we say, because a lot of men are not articulate enough to convey that. But what we do, women pay attention to that. I'm gonna keep it 100 in the streets. I was in the
Ooh,
street. So my deal is that how if I show a woman, if I bring you around my family, then you know that you're kind of special to me, because I've had girlfriends for a year and a half, 2 years. They ain't know my mama. They ain't know my none of that, because you don't get that type of access to me. So that's another thing. What we do and the access that we grant to you, whether it's our money, spirituality. If a man break down and pray with you, then you have reached his inner sanctuary.
can I tag on to that, Brother Sidney? Now, I'm gonna go back to what you said about being a monolith. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
give you a quick story about my ex-husband. So, a little bit before we got engaged, he took me to see his people. Big family reunion. I saw both sides of the family, talked to the mama. We had a wonderful weekend. Guess what this Negro did 3 weeks later? He took another girl to the same people. Okay? And so when I found out, because the girl called me, she was like, "Hey, I'm up here with his family." And I was like, "Oh, no, he didn't," because he just took me to his family. And I asked him, I said, "How did this happen?" Like, because remember, my mama said, "Ask why," right? Give him a chance to explain. He said he wanted his family to choose which one of us were better. And you sitting up here like, "Yeah, Jermaine, what is yeah? That's not a good thing."
I didn't shake my head because it was a good thing. I shook my head because I understood before you said he was letting them choose. I already knew what he was doing. So when you said it, I was just shaking my head confirming it.
Why
My
can't, why
I'm
can't
the
he
youngest of
choose?
I'm the youngest of three. My middle brother used to be exactly like that. So I completely understand the behavior. I don't necessarily agree with the behavior, but I understand the behavior. He can choose. Uh, if a man is allowing or needing help from his family to choose, um, be careful with that because they also have influence in other areas of his life. So if you do marry him, date him, or whatever the case may be, when things don't go right, he is definitely going to call, text, and all that to them before he confers with you.
That's why we're divorced. Huh? Next, next. Anybody else? Anybody else?
I had a quick
I have a
question.
question.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, you go ahead. I was just go
My
ahead.
question, it was when Maurice was talking about like the correcting that black men may give, the feedback they get from women, like how much grace do you guys give us, knowing that like sometimes some women never got that correction in life, they may not see that as love? Like how hard is it for you to give us grace, and is are you only that understanding? Because I think that's one of the things that causes friction between black men and women. You know, when black, we always got attitudes. Sometimes it's just, I feel like trauma shows up a lot. You know,
It
sometimes
does.
it's just, yeah, and that's how it shows up sometimes. So how hard is it for y'all to give us grace, and do you only give that grace to somebody you really care about?
It's not really that it's hard. What it is you can tell how much I actually care by my response when you do go off. Because you raise your voice doesn't mean I have to. I don't like to argue. So if you start going off, I'm gonna have the same monotone voice that I have now, but what I'm saying doesn't change. So it's just one of those like, hey, well, let's talk about it. Okay, maybe not right now, but because we don't talk about it now doesn't mean we're not going to. So the more I care is the more we're gonna actually dive deep into stuff that hurts. Because if we're gonna be together, I need to know you inside and out. So whatever hurts you or whatever you want to do, it doesn't bother me. Let's have the uncomfortable conversations. Because if I can't talk to you about the uncomfortable stuff, what are we doing? Then
Yeah.
we may not need to be serious. So it's gonna be a lot of grace there because I'm not perfect. And I know that. And when you see something in me, if you don't say something, I'm pissed off. Well, why didn't you say that 6 months ago when you figured it out? Now I'm mad because you didn't say anything. So I'm here. I am
Yeah.
thinking I'm perfect, not really, but I'm thinking that I'm okay with us. And you've been holding this for 6 months. Why?
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to talk to me
A lot of
because
us
I'm
will
not going
not
to be
talk
afraid
to
to talk to you
communicate.
because we are one. I don't. I'm one of those. I don't care what my family says about you. I don't care how my friends feel about you because it's me and you against the world. And
Yeah.
that's one of my things I'm going to always say. It doesn't matter to me about anybody else because it's us. Period.
How do you deal with the communication barrier? Because a lot of us were not taught how to communicate. It was what
Right.
goes on in this house stays in this house. Do as I say, not as I do, you know. So there was no dialogue as a child to really have an opinion about anything in the house. There was no healthy, now I'm not gonna say no, but for the most of us, we could not have opinions in the house. We, you know, so when we get into relationships, sometimes it's hard for us to have those conversations. How
Mhm.
do you handle that if somebody doesn't do well
Don't
with
stop.
communication?
You
Um,
don't stop. I'm gonna make you open up, whether you want to or not, because you're gonna have to see. Love is an action word. You're gonna have to see it. So if I show you, then you're going. You have no choice. So I have no problem with telling you whatever it is, and I have to show you that I don't have a problem with that. So when you do have that issue and you do blow up, hey, if I know you for real, I know how to bring you back, reel you back in. That's hey, okay, look, I know it upsets you. I'm not trying to do that. Let's find out how we can get past that so that that doesn't happen again. It's how you communicate and how you keep going with it. So a lot of stuff that I figured out as an adult, I wasn't taught. I had to figure it out. But because I wanted to figure it out, I did. You can't run from it. So if you want something, you got to go ahead and hit it head on and don't run from it. Because the longer you run, the worse it gets. Because some
Yeah.
people are going to walk away. And that's not, I would rather choose to fight it out with you than walk away from it.
I would say for men, the best thing is to understand for a woman who didn't learn how to communicate, you're going to have multiple conversations on the same topic. So just be ready for it. It is what it is. Just prepare your mind for it. I can tell you for me personally, in past relationships, um, one of the things I like to do if there is a issue, and I think there's an underlying issue, maybe some past trauma, childhood trauma, whatever, that she's not willing to talk yet. I know it's going to be multiple conversations, but while I'm dating her, I'm going to find her favorite spot, what spot she likes to go to and eat, what spot she likes to go to and drink, and we're going to go out. And I'm going to get you 3 or 4 of those lovely drinks you like to have. And by the time that conversation is over, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. Now, I'm not going to
You're going to
correct you
soften
in that
up.
conversation. Yeah, I'm not going to correct you in that conversation because you're not ready to receive correction. But when we revisit it, now I have more information. So when we come back, we can actually have an intelligent conversation.
If
Oh,
That's
if I
just my
That
might,
sounds
take.
like such a
if I
setup. I
might,
don't know how I feel about that. That's
yeah,
right. Y'all
if
ladies,
I
hear
might
what Brother
interject,
Jermaine is
it,
talking
I
about.
know, Brother
it,
Jermaine. We
it can interject, and again, there's more than one way to skin a cat. With either one, I'm not sure if you were joking, Jermaine. I hope you were, because that's manipulation. And Maurice, I understand where you're coming from, but sometimes you don't. When you're dealing with people in their trauma, you got to figure out where they are in that, so you necessarily can't go through with the sledgehammer to get your answers. Sometimes you're going to have to coax the individual. You got to give, like I said, that's part of the skills, because just saying something to someone is not communicating. That's
Mm-hmm.
pontificating. That's disseminating. Dissemination of information is a one-way street, and if you come off pontificating or using any other method that's not straight up and or conducive to your audience, because communications 101, you speak to your audience. So you have to be able to speak to them. So if you go about either one of those, you risk the chance with the wrong person. Again, with a person who's not on that level, or have any idea of what you're trying to get from them, you could run them completely off. They would scare most people, because most people can't effectively and openly communicate.
Yeah.
Because just telling somebody something, that's not communication. No.
Right.
I wanted to say
See,
something
you came.
about the correction. I remember when I was dating my second husband, and I had just moved from Atlanta back to Knoxville, Tennessee, and so I had some food stamps left over, and we went to the grocery store. So I was buying my stuff, and I put some stuff back. So he said, "Go ahead and give it to her." So when he paid for the rest or whatever. So as we was walking out, he said, "Let me tell you something. When I go to the store, I don't put nothing back. So if you had it in your buggy, then that means you want it." So I was just like, he had a real deep voice when he said it. So I was like, okay. So, but the old me in that first marriage, I would have popped off and be like, "You don't tell me what to do. If I want to put something back, I would have. I know me, but I learned from my time being alone what to do and what not to do. But he was distributing so many attributes that he wanted me. His actions, he did his actions proved that. So I had to reprogram. Here we go again. I had to reprogram my mind to not self-sabotage from what I was used to what I was going into. So yeah, I hushed. And you best to believe
You
when I
on
go
here
to the
cussing
store with
again. You said hush.
yes, I learned for him. I hushed. So I had to learn. If I'm going to the store with him, I better make sure whatever I got in my basket that I'm going to get.
Yeah.
But when I was by myself, if I want to put something back, then he didn't have to know about it. But I know when I was with him, he didn't do that. So I made sure that what I wanted, I was getting, and I was not putting nothing back because he let it be known in the beginning that that's not what he is about. So I'm not going to. I had to move LaQuanda out the way because this is what I wanted. He wanted me, and I wanted him. So I had to let him know. Okay, I hear you. It won't happen again. So that's all.
Oh, you was on here cussing. Ooh, you on here cussing. Anybody next?
I think to kind of go with all of it, one of the biggest, what Quana just said, one of the biggest words that we don't say a lot or we don't want to deal with is compromise.
Mm-hmm.
I think I know it all, so I really don't care how you feel about it. Sometimes you have to move me out of the way. Because she said, I wanted him and he wanted me. She moved self out of the way. Okay, you know what? That's how he feels about this. It's okay. But when I'm by myself, though, I know how to deal with that. So it doesn't hurt to be like that on both sides. But you also have to have those non negotiable things. That's something that we don't have to argue about. But you can't ever put your hands on me, though. So that's the non negotiable part. So going to the grocery store, that's so trivial. You know what, babe? I'm sorry. When I'm with you, just get what you want. It's okay. And remove self and say, hey, you know what? That's how he feels. But on the non-negotiable side, there is no crossing that line. There is no remove self. There's that line right there. So there are certain things that we have to compromise on. But because you've done so much in other relationships, it's not the same person. You know, it's one of the things that I learned as a kid. Don't bleed on a person who didn't cut you. So don't bring that over here. I'm not going to bring back past stuff over here with you. We start with a clean slate. So I have a lot in the beginning. You have to remove yourself a whole lot and compromise, even if you don't want to, because I do want you. So in the beginning, that's what makes it hard. But once you get to know that person, really, really get to know that person, it becomes so much easier. But you still have to have that line where that's the non-negotiable part. But compromising, it's not a hard thing. No, I don't want to say it's not a hard thing to do because it is. Sometimes you don't want to remove self, but for the betterment of us, I'm willing to do that. But how much are you willing to do is the main part.
Okay. Anybody else before I move on to the women's question? All right. All right, ladies, you're up next. What does a man have to do to make you feel safe enough to drop your guard? Sister Rhymes, I feel something coming up and it looks like you want to answer. I feel it in my spirit.
I still have an attitude from correction. I'm like, you ain't my parent. Correction. I just never heard it described that way. So
Yeah, I already knew. Y'all been out here cussing all day. I'm telling you.
You know what? That's a good question. I have not figured out the answer to that yet because nobody that I have met has made me feel safe enough in the past few years to let that wall down. So I don't know what it will take. I think maybe it is, a lot of times these men that I meet and that I see online are constantly like, I want peace. I want peace. But okay, that's fine. But how are you making me feel safe enough to give you said peace? Right. So like the example I was watching, Kendra G singles and someone on there, like, this guy on there was saying that he had stayed out till 5 a.m. and all he wanted was peace and his wife wouldn't give him that. Sir, like she didn't feel peaceful and she didn't feel safe because she didn't know where you were. She didn't know if something had happened. So she all anxious, anxiety, like, climbing the walls, trying to probably text and blow up your phone and not knowing if you're hurt somewhere, what's going on. And you talk about all you want is peace. So I like stuff like that. I do not know what is going to make me feel safe. I think it is, and it probably is honest, true communication for one. I don't know. I think it's just some kind of feeling that's going to make me want to be vulnerable enough to let that wall down. But for right now,
it's up.
Brick wall.
Reagan, will you repeat the question? I missed it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. What does a man have to do to make you feel safe enough to drop your guard? Sister Linda, I see it. It's forming. What's going on?
I was just thinking about the question. I feel the same way Shamika does. I have yet to find somebody who is capable of making me feel safe. It's almost like I want someone who's strong and who is emotionally able to communicate effectively and who can lead and who pray. It's like I want a baby Jesus, and I ain't ran across him. I ain't ran across him yet, so I'm over here holding on.
Yeah. I'm gonna tag on to that when you finish.
Go ahead.
Y'all not gonna like what I'm gonna say though. Y'all ready? Um, I'm not saying this is y'all because I got to make it comfortable first. A lot of the times, because of our past relationships, we are scared to let go anyway. Like they can, do the best they can be. And the only reason I'm saying this is because I've coached so many women. Even one, I just have one. She just got engaged. Let me see how I can tell her story. The guy she was dating, close to perfect, did everything right. There was a small miscommunication, and she called me. She said, "Oh, that's it. I'm done with it." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Okay, let's slow down. Let's go back and let's start over. Has he ever given you a reason to blah 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 blah?" And she said, "No." A lot of the time, we look to disqualify men. I'm gonna be honest. We really do, and we do it unconsciously. And a lot of the times, we hold on because we've dealt with so many bad relationships that again this goes into self-sabotage because I see it all the time. When you start seeing a guy and it's like, okay, well, he's cool, and then we start using things and start picking them apart, not realizing that nobody's perfect, not even us. And if you continue to, not you guys, but if you continue to go down that route, you will not find anybody to let your guard down because you don't trust. And it's not him that you don't trust yourself. Because to make that decision, like I've been choosing wrong this whole time, and I don't want to choose wrong again. That's one of my things. I said I was going to do a video on that because when I get married again, and I will, I don't want to choose wrong again. But we have to realize that men are not perfect, but neither are we. So just as we have to deal with things with them, they got to deal with our stuff too. And I think a lot of the time when women are talking, it's like, well, honey, he don't got this and he don't got that. Well, what you got? What do you have? Right. We have to learn to look at ourselves and learn that we can trust ourselves to let go and give the right man. The right man. Because a lot of the time we don't choose right. And I know Summer Walker just said, please stop telling women not to choose. Like but we do choose wrong. And I've seen it so many times. I'm gonna do a video on this too. Depending on where you are in your life, you will choose the wrong man. If your self-esteem is low and you haven't been with somebody in a minute, you will allow a man just to come through and knock you down and make excuses for him. You'll do it just because you're lonely. But we will never say, you know what, I'm lonely and I need some sex. So I just allowed what happened. So when you do have this man that comes in who is halfway about something and he's talking good and he's doing, oh, he ain't about nothing. But that's because you was messing with Ray Ray when your self-esteem was on the ground. So we have to be cognizant when we are dating because it's not always their fault. I ain't never met no men. These men on here are really good stand-up men. Hmm. They are. They're not perfect, but they stand up, right? So I just had to throw that 2 cent in. Okay,
I'm
yeah,
I
I
have
love
a I
that.
have
It
an
don't
answer.
exist. I'm just saying I have not
Yes.
met him yet.
And
I'm
you will, Sister Linda.
I'm there. I'm waiting. I'm waiting
Mhm.
patiently.
And you are preaching, Reagan.
Yes. I've been dealing with this because I was dating someone and I felt safe initially. That he did something and I was like, yo, I mean, I felt it just threw me all off of my game. But we are trying to rebuild. But what makes me feel safe with the man first is consistency, openness. And for me, he had like, he wanted, because he had been through a divorce and all these things, so he wanted this like perfect woman. I'm like, I ain't perfect, baby. I'm almost, I'm in my late 40s, definitely not perfect. So he made a bad mistake, but what he came back out of fear, right? He made some mistakes out of fear. He did what a lot of sometimes what women do. He just got scared, things were going too good, you know what I mean? Then, oh, she's not perfect. I'm not gonna be perfect. It's not gonna happen. But now what's making me feel safe now is his willingness to admit his mistakes, and that he's trying to show up and show that he is trying to work through it and repair the hurt that he caused from that mistake. So
I'm glad and kudos to you for letting him, because a lot of the time they'd be like, because I remember when Ray
I'm
Ray did
trying.
this, and I'm not staying around for this. So I'm
I'm
glad
trying.
that you're doing that. That's a
Yeah, that's
We
good.
trying. I ain't trying to be single forever. You know what I'm saying?
I can chime in on that. Letting guard down. For me, it is consistency.
yes.
And so once the man is consistent, then I feel like I can let my guard down. And again, I'm going back to my husband has passed away. He used to say all the time, chisel by chisel, I'm gonna knock that wall down. And I used to, stuff that he would do, I'd be like, this can't be real, because like I didn't have that with my first marriage. And so it was just toxic. Even from us being teenagers till adults, it was just toxic. And so stuff that he would do would amaze me, and I'd just be like, it can't be real. And he'd be like, would you stop saying, would you stop saying that, because this is real, this is who I am. And he will always say, I'm not him. Whatever my actions did, he would say, I'm not him. And so he would repeatedly do that, and he was consistent. And so I can remember a time that we were dating, and I was at his house, and I fell asleep on the couch. And when I woke up, he was not there in the living room. And so I panicked, because that's what my ex-husband used to do. When I would go to sleep, my ex-husband would leave. He would be out in the street. He was a street guy. He would be gone. As soon as I go to sleep, he out. He wouldn't be coming back home till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. So that went on for the 17 years that we were together. And so when that happened, it startled me. Like I woke up and I hollered out his name. And so he came out of his room. He was like, what? Because I woke up like I was in a nightmare. He was like, what's wrong? And I was like, oh, I thought you left. He said, why would I do that? Mm-hmm. And so I was just like, I just shook my head. And he just looked at me. He said, I'm not him. And so, as I got myself together, I said, okay, it's time for me to go home, because I felt so bad. And I don't know why I felt bad, but that he could have been like, she got too much trauma, I don't want to deal with her. But no, he stayed. You know what I'm saying? He stayed. He was consistent. And so, yeah, my guard started going down, down, and down.
We love consistency. Consistency and honest. I love that. All right, girls, did y'all get all that out? Or ladies, excuse me, did y'all get all that out? Okay. All right, men. Y'all, we've been on here an hour, and I only got a couple of questions.
It goes by so fast.
It does. And I'm not trying to be on here. We'll have to come back and finish the rest of the questions. Are y'all with that? I've been wearing y'all out. I should try to find some new men. I've been wearing y'all out.
I told you, as long as you will have me, I'm here.
Now, you're the only one that's saying that. The other one's looking like, hey, nigga, you better get your act together.
One more question. Make it 4.
Okay. You have to put y'all on payroll when I start making some money. Okay. All right. So where we go? Let's see. Where did that question go? No, I don't want to ask that. What does a safe space, because women don't like those words either, safe space. What does a safe space look like for when you have had a hard day? What can we do to make it safe for you guys?
Well, for me, I like time. I like to decompress, and I do it by myself. And that's one of those things. My job is a little weird because, like I said, I drive 300 miles, 350 miles per day. I have interaction, but I'm in a car for 8 hours at a time by myself. Without any interaction, so I like to decompress. Give us a moment before we hear about the bitch at your job that you don't like. Give us a moment. There was this video where it was this guy that he was sitting in a car and he was sitting out there for an hour and a half, whatever it is. The
Sleep.
sun
Oh
came out, and I'm pretty sure people have seen that video. That's real. That is very, very, very real. If he likes his toddy, do that. You know what I mean. Whatever it is, create an environment where, like I said, he's able to come out on his own, because if you elicit that from us, if you push it from us, that's where the arguments start. That's where the damn, you on my back, you know what I mean, I can't, you know what I mean, yada yada yada. So give them time, just and create that space, and hold his secrets dear. I'm always reminded of it wasn't Samson and Delilah. It was in the midnight, the quiet of the hour, that he told his secrets that caused his downfall. Women, if you really want to know your man, that's when it is, when everything is disconnected, in the wee hours of the night. But don't betray him. Do not betray him, because again, that betrayal could lead to his ultimate downfall. So those are the things I think that, if I would just for me, give me a little time to disconnect. Let me do what I do, and hey, we go from that point.
okay. So, okay, Sydney, for you, you coming in, you want your drink and your space. Look,
But
kiss on the cheek. Hey, babe. All right.
I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't drink, I smoke. So let me
Okay.
smoke my weed.
Okay.
Leave me alone. Let me get on my level. And hey, I'm cool in the breeze. I ain't bothering nobody. Give me something to eat. And I share the TV, because I done gotten to the point where I watch. I call it white girl murder mystery or lifetime murder movie. Hey, we can chill. Let me watch the game when it come on. Anything else other than that, I'm cool in the breeze.
Okay. So we're gonna have you one roll and let you get yourself together and get you a hot meal. So okay, so men need some space when they coming in. Yes.
Yes,
First hit
every
the
man
door. You
needs a moment to
Either
decompress.
space or consideration. Go ahead, Kobe.
Oh yeah, I was just saying that. Thank you. Every man probably needs a moment to decompress when he comes into the house, to just, we have to clear our minds from the days, and then get into a new mindset to be what we need to be in home. But there's a moment there um, that we have to kind of gather our thoughts and our energies to switch modes. And a safe space would be your support of that, and you helping us. All right, if we do, like he said, if you do need a drink or whatever you partake in, to do that, but then also be available, but not be in the way, in a sense, because you can prolong that decompression time by interrupting. So just be mindful of that. And then maybe you need anything. All right, just let me know. Just kind of give us that moment, and then we get our bearings, and then we're back to being whatever you need us to be.
Yeah,
okay.
I can kind of piggyback off of both of those. When I'm having one of those days, I'm a communicator, so you'll know before I get home. You'll know when it happened, what's going on. Only because I need to get it out. Because if I don't talk about it, it's going to be a problem later. So my thing is, I'm a routine guy. When I come in, I'm taking a shower. That's just me. That's my decompressed hot water. Let me just run all of this day off of me. So now once I come out, I'm a different person when I come out of the restroom. Because I got a speaker in there. I got some music playing. Depending on my mood, based on what I'm listening to, how I feel.
Okay.
For some weird for some weird reason, ever since I was in high school, if I'm really, 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 really pissed off, for some reason, if you hear me listen to Bone Thugs and Harmony, don't ask me why. Something's wrong. Something is wrong. So if you ever hear that, however you know me to make me calm, that's what we need to do. Because somebody in trouble. And it's not you, so I'll never take it out on you. It could be work. It could be, I can't say the kids. I technically only have one, but it's more than likely work or something that happened or interaction at the grocery store or whatever. So it takes a lot to get me there. So if I come to you and I'm telling you, hey, man, this right here is going on, this is this. Once I come in, I'm in the shower. But if I'm listening to my regular music, it's not really serious. But if you hear certain things, you know how to do it and deal with it based off of what you're hearing come out of that shower. So other than that, I'm real cool. I'm real calm, but it takes a lot to get me out of my mode. So just know I'll tell you and we'll be able to get it done.
I would
Okay.
probably say the most consistent answer is decompression. What
Yep.
that looks like is going to be slightly different from man to man.
Mhm.
Been in ministry over 20 years. Um, I have been forced to change hats quite quickly. So I have the ability to do it. But if I just come in and you just don't hit me with all my duties when I walk through the door. Take out the trash, the car all needs to be changed. The baby diaper needs to be changed, or we got a PTA meeting or a vice principal meeting. If I say give me a second, give me a second. If I don't say give me a second, then I'm listening. I'm not. I might not respond to you, but I am listening, and I'm logging it in my brain. And when I'm ready to map out a plan of what we're gonna do, then I'll map out that plan. But if I say give me a second, then something on the outside of that door happened. I got pulled over wrongfully. Boss got on my nerves. It could have been a myriad of things, but something happened. Give me a second. Let me shake it off because if you don't allow us to shake it off, then the next opportunity, if you come direct at us, is I got to put it on you, and you don't want it.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes those immediate arguments that happen when a man walks in the house, and maybe the woman hits him with chores because he forgot to wash the dishes or take out the trash, or maybe if he has a baby mama called and she was acting stupid and he didn't know. But if you hit him with it immediately when he walked in the door, he wasn't mad at you. He just saw you for the first time today. But whatever he was mad at, he unloaded it on you because you unloaded on him when he walked in the door, and he felt defenseless.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Last
Just want
question. This is for everybody. Did I interrupt somebody?
no, no, no.
Okay.
Before, can I say something to
Yeah,
that?
go ahead.
Ian? When you learn your person, know your person, you would know by their body language and their tone when to ask questions and when not to. Um, I can remember a time that my second husband, he kept asking me, "What's wrong?" I kept saying nothing, and so finally he said, "I know something is wrong with you because your body posture is off." When I tell y'all, that right there took me into a whole nother. I'm like, dang, he studied me like that. He know my body posture. He knows something is wrong because my body posture is off. So I said, okay, I got to pay more attention to him. I got to learn him and know when I can release and when to just be quiet and wait for the time. And it also, the Holy Spirit will tell you too. The Holy Spirit will definitely tell you, okay, this ain't the good time. Wait.
Yep.
And no matter how important it is, that man just came in from work or whatever, you definitely don't want to overload him. Like, let him decompress and wait till the right time. I tell you, before the night is over with, it'll be a time when you can be able to release and he is relaxed and he can hear you and you can hear each other. So that's all.
Mm, that's good. Okay, last question. One of the things I learned when I was married, when I first got married, I was not in entrepreneurship, and it changed over the years. And so it became a big thing for me. Like helping women, helping men in relationships and all the things. So once I started walking in my purpose and figuring out who I was or am, I'm gonna be honest. There was a big disconnect with myself in my marriage because I was like, there's like, we're not gonna be able to make it just based on some things and things that after I looked at that I accepted because I didn't know who I was. Now in marriage and in relationships, especially as we get older, we change. We should be changing. How do you go through those changes together? And has it been a time where you just haven't been able to go through those changes? And how important is it to support, or that your partner supports your dreams and your visions and goals? Because I'm ambitious. I know Sister Rhymes. I mean, we got some ambitious women, and I know sometimes that can be a turnoff. But so how do we work through that with relationships outside of communication? Because I know y'all gonna say we got to communicate, we got to tell it, and outside of communication, how do we deal with those changes within the relationship?
Me personally, I think you got to expect the changes. Yeah, relationships are difficult enough, and I use mine. Like I said, we're similar in age. You know what I mean? Similar backgrounds, so we have a connection. But going into it, we kind of had almost like. And she called it corny at the time, but it's almost like a relationship playbook. It's what you kind of expect going through. I tell anybody, I'm too old to be dumb. I'm too old to do the things that I did before, and not anticipate. I expect that, after the first 8 9 months of the relationship, that the physical thing is going to take a turn. I know that at year 3, you know what I mean, that this is expected to happen. That we'll go from one level to the next. So I think, like I said, having a realistic expectation of where you are in your relationship, what your common interests are, what your goals are, and you anticipate those things. Though again, that's part of the uncomfortable conversations that you must have in any relationship, because again, when you're dealing with and I spoke about this the last show, and I'm not sure if any of the women on the panel will use this term. I'm an alpha woman. Alpha woman, the women with the goals, the big goals, the boss bitches, and all of that. Like I said, I keeps it 100. They clash with what a traditional man and relationship is. Yet a lot of those women still want that traditional type of man. So you have to discuss these things. Like Maurice said, there should not be any secrets that you share amongst yourself and your partner, and have a shared goal. And like I said, to me, you expect these things. You have to talk them out. There's enough failure. There's enough failure in other relationships and your past relationships to pick to leave the bad, leave the rubble, but pick the good out of that, to strategize your own thing. And it's choice. It's choice.
Okay. Anybody
Um,
else?
I,
I can say,
okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, like, I think the ego is such a relationship killer, and like sometimes you just have to take yourself out of it. I have a friend I have several friends been married for a long time, and she said what changed her marriage. She said I kept praying for my husband to be a certain way instead of praying for who God wanted him to be. And she said once I prayed for who God wanted him to be, then they were able to weather the ups and downs more. And then I also want to say, like, I feel like if we treated our love relationships like we do our friends, we give our friends so much grace. We give them
Yes, I
so
just
much.
had that
We
conversation
do.
today. Yes.
Yes, if they don't call you every day, like you give them so much grace and so much understanding, but because we want what we want for us out of a relationship, we don't give our partners the same thing. So I think that's another thing. All that will help us weather the ups and downs and still be supportive, even if it didn't look like how you want it to look at the present moment.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's good.
Yeah, I can go back to saying like, of course, me being the communicator, that's we could take past that. I'll be your biggest cheerleader. Whatever it is, I'm in it with you. But I don't want what I do to overshadow you because I'm here as well. Like I dated, well, we didn't date, but I knew someone who I was involved with that was an entrepreneur. So I would go to what she did and I would look around and I would learn. Some of the stuff I learned from her then, I still use to this day because I'm around you. So if I'm going to be around you enough, I want to pick up on what you do. How did you do that? What does that mean? Oh, okay. So if you use that and do that, oh, okay. So now when I see that you're doing certain things and I hand it to you before you need it, I know what the next step is. So I'm going to help you, but I'm going to be behind the scenes. So I have no problem. But when that starts to break down, now we have to communicate to make that better. So the communication is still going to be a part of it, but on your end, you can have the ambitious woman. Hey, I want to start the podcast, or hey, I want to have the tour business, or hey, okay, well, how can I help her and still make us work? So again, you're still removing self, but I'm still going to help you. So it's a thing to where it's a yin and a yang, push and a pull, but I always wanted to be there to help. So
And
helping is always going to do it.
how is it that how important is it for her to support you too, not you just supporting her?
Oh, it's important as well. And my mine, and I'm very simple. So supporting me is I do certain things that I do. I'm a bodyguard. So supporting me is just if you hear something, say something. If you know this, say something. I do referee and stuff. Hey, you just the smallest things help. So I really don't ask for a lot. So when it comes to me, I'm shocked and surprised. That's enough for me because I do it enough for myself on a daily. So when it comes to me and you're saying, hey, well, maybe have you heard they got a new place opening up over here, or they got a new, referee thing over here, or they got a certain artist that I've dealt with before is coming to town in March. You might want to reach out. Then that lets me know you're thinking about me outside of here. So it's the small things for me. So knowing that you're on my side, and then guess what? We build this thing together. So it's important, but it's also that, like I said, on that being on the backside of it, just helping at the small things to make it a little bit easier for me and what I'm doing.
Okay. Anybody else?
For staying together, I would start off by saying, and I tell people in my counseling sessions, relationships are a living organism. And I say that to say all living organisms change. So it must be expected. You got to look for it. Um, the growth is going to be different. So sometimes she's going to outgrow you in certain seasons. Some seasons you're going to outgrow her. But at the very end of the day, the reason and why they stay together is you have to be willing to choose that person every day, every single day. I didn't say like them every day. I said choose them every day. Like she said with the friends, our friends can do some of the most dastardly of things, but we still choose them to be our friends and to hold our secrets. It's a choice. Same thing in your relationship. Make that choice every day. And if you make that choice every day and consistently, then you will at some point in the changing of the seasons, you will at some point put the effort in to reconnect and to make it work. Even if the romance has died or whatever, you will reconnect and make it work. I have seen it happen tons of times at different levels of relationships. To answer your question about entrepreneurs, in my experience of marital and relationship counseling, talking to men, most men are not scared of women who are entrepreneurs. There are the two underlying factors that I found are this. Number one, men feel like they're going to be deprioritized. So if she becomes an entrepreneur, she won't have any time for me. So that's where women love the word reassurance. That's where if you're going to step into a realm of something, your man might need some reassurance that you're not going to be deprioritizing.
Mm.
Number one. Number two, there might be some insecurity on his part that you, in your quest to be an entrepreneur, and him maybe having a normal regular job, you may either look for or you may be found by a man with a common mindset that's an entrepreneur, and he may feel y'all may connect more than you two connect. Again, reassurance.
Okay.
Mm. I always say relationships are a little bit challenging because you have two moving targets trying to focus on each other, because both parties are changing all the time at different rates. And so you got to find something that you that's stationary. Usually, a lot of times it's religion or some kind of principles or things like that that are static, that keep you grounded, and that you can always look back to stay locked in. But you're always going to be evolving and growing at different rates, and you're not only learning how to love the other person, you're learning how to who the new version of you are as well. So it's like this whole process of who am I, where am I trying to go, and how does this relate to this relationship. So it's always going to be having some type of challenges there with identifying who are you now. Yeah, you might finally figure out how to love this person, but it's who they were a year ago, and now they've graduated into to this new space. So it's a lot of it comes to grace, giving the benefit of the doubt, and trusting your instincts on, um, reminding yourself who you married or who you chose, and like Brother Grant said, continually to choose them every day. Um, and the other thing, as far as with the entrepreneurship, um, I think the disconnect sometimes with women that have that ambition and that excitement. I think there's a difference between how men and women approach these types of ambitions, because of, I guess, the gender roles and the responsibilities that we have as men to be providers and protectors. So we go into it with a mindset of, I'm doing this because this allows me to provide for her and the kids. And a lot of times when we approach women that have that same mindset as far as going out and getting it, and getting the money, they have the energy that they're doing it for themselves.
Hmm.
And it's not to benefit the relationship. And I think that's
Hmm.
probably the turn off for some men. It's like, okay, so I'm doing all of this for us and you're doing all of that for you.
Hmm.
And it's taking time from you to contribute to us. And so I think when women talk about the intimidation and all that, it's usually these types of things. And then I mean, there's no one set mindset in how women approach these things and what we experience with them. But a lot of times, the mindset is just, more of a selfish end when it comes to that, where it's like, hey, I'm doing all of this to pour into you. Um, and it's not even that we need your money or anything like that. It's just the mentality that I'm I'm giving to you and you're taking for yourself. And I think that's where the disconnect comes for us, is that if women can find a way to make their aspirations be a benefit of the relationship, and they can convey that to us in a way where, like, hey, if our investments will be better, or whatever it is that they can come up with, we can go, I mean, with this will be used for I'm looking at this will give us opportunity to take trips or to do something, but to have some kind of way that you're not doing all of this just for you, because we're supposed to be in this together. And every dollar, even if you didn't work, every dollar I bring into the house is ours, right? So we're looking at this from, hey, this is a completely different, we understand it's a different mindset, but it's like, if you're not going to be, if we're still expected to hold that traditional role, and you're not going to be that traditional counterpart, the value that we used to receive isn't there. You're going to have to replace that value with something.
That's going to be hard for some of us, though, Brother Kobe, because a lot of us have been single mothers and all the things. And so
I
just
and
we
I
just ask for patience, please, while we're learning, okay?
If you don't mind,
we
can I jump in on what Kobe said?
Yeah.
Because it just clicked into my head. It's the meshing of the gender roles. It's the meshing of the gender roles, but not clearing of the gender roles. Because, like I said on the last show, women, especially again the alpha women, the ones who run the business, who got the 400 degrees, and they tell us about it. You know what I mean? That the attitude and I do this and the whole shebang. Okay, yeah, we get all that. However, that comes with men not being monolithic and women taking the most aggressive or negative traits of a man and implying them. Because again, a man would never tell you if the four of us were in a the four gentlemen, we were in a building, we were all CEOs. We wouldn't tell each other what our business was. It would emanate. Women have the need to tell that I have accomplished these things, and I get it, I understand. But again, that's part of where women take the aggressiveness that a man has to have. Because again, if these four men were on this panel and the five women, we were 400 billion BC, we have to go out and kill a water buffalo or whatever it is to bring it back home. And so now the women are there is no water buffalo, quote unquote, to kill, but it's, whatever the world is, the society is, that they're out competing in. And so again, I think they take a lot of the negative traits of men and apply them, and men see that, and that's where the disconnect is. Because if I see I have to tell an old girlfriend, it's like I'm not your girlfriend and you're not my boyfriend, so to speak. That we're to be together. So the things that you think are attractive are actually repelling.
Mm.
yeah, those are the things that attract you to us, but it's not what attracts us to you.
Thank you, sir.
And so the things that you should probably consider bragging about or offering is the things that we ask for in a woman, that we're looking for. Because we've never said we want your education or we don't want no dummy, obviously. but we've never said we want your degrees and your career and all of those things. We said we want things that embody you as a woman. We want you to be nice. We want you to look good. We want you to smell good. We want you to care and be selfless and be humble and have humility and be caring and feminine and all of these things that most women have the opportunity to actually have. And most women have these things at some point, I guess. But when you are single for a long time, you can lose a lot of those things because you have to fight in a man's world, and it makes you a little harder. And you have to deal with things you shouldn't have to deal with because our covering is supposed to protect you from that. And so, um, I guess it's just trying to learn how to balance that energy of, hey, I want to get that excitement of wanting to do for yourself, but still figuring out how to make whatever it is that you do, that bring to the table conversation, whatever it is, you have something to offer that he actually values.
Ladies, did we write that down so we know? Shamika, I see your attitude. I see it. I see an attitude.
I'm just listening. I'm listening.
That's a code word for I got an attitude.
I'm listening.
And we are proud of you for your careers. Don't get me wrong. We do champion that.
But y'all don't care. You glad we got them, but y'all don't care. You want the
Now we glad we got them,
left
but it's
alone
like,
with a plate of food. That's what Brother Sidney said. Roll the blunt, give me my food, and leave me alone.
Not exclusively. That's broke down to its lowest common denominator. However, but like I said, those are the intricacies in being in relationships. Y'all were talking about it before, and I can't remember, was I think Linda said she looking for a baby Jesus. I told my lady, look, I just want you to be willing. I don't, you're no deity. I don't place you on that spot as a deity. I look at you for who you are, so I can't place you on that spot. And I say it all the time. The greatest misconception that we have in this generation is that we can have it all. And it's a fallacy. And until people take those blinders off, they're setting themselves up for those unrealistic expectations and the inevitable failures that come with them. So you got to have a level of, where the rubber meets the road, and just be honest. I'm, like I said, brutally honest, but not to the point where you destroy yourself or anybody else. But you just have to be, real front. So yeah, it's more than that, because again, my lady, I require more from her because she requires more of me, and that's understood. So yeah.
Okay. Ladies, did you guys get a chance to say what you needed to say before we get off of here? Because I want to be fair to everyone. Okay.
We listening.
You hear
You taking me
that?
out with this beard comb.
See, I'm gonna tell you where that comes from. So I don't know where that comes from, but I made a post, and I don't know if some of y'all saw it, about a woman putting her hands in a man's head, and this can be beer. See, Brother Jermaine needs a woman because he's trying to calm down. So that's what that is. He need that woman after he has decompressed to help him with that. You understand what I'm saying? See how I threw that in there? I'm trying to help y'all out. But anyway,
That's sensuality. People don't understand that. That's maybe another topic, but that's sensuality that has absolutely
yes.
nothing, and intimacy that has absolutely nothing to do with sex.
I know. If I put my hands on you, I like you, period. Because I don't touch people. I'm just gonna be honest. If I'm touching any part, your hair, your hand, your eyeball, I like you, and because I don't touch people. So yes. Anyway, I'm gonna let y'all go. I'm sleepy. I don't know about y'all. I'm about to fall out. Thank y'all. So we're gonna start doing this earlier because baby, listen, everybody don't work and all the things. I appreciate y'all because we over 40 and baby, we got to get up early and all the things. Thank y'all so much. I'm very grateful for you. Thank you guys for watching now. And if you came back to watch the replay, I'm very grateful for you. This is your girl, Reagan Adams with Dating Instead, who killed it, the Build a Man Workshop. And we'll talk about passions and perspective because it has nothing to do with this. You guys have a blessed night. Talk to you later. Bye.
Night, ladies.
Bye bye.
Good night.